What's up, my family? Listen, first-time listener, or you've been here the whole damn time. Hit that like, hit that subscribe, giddy up, let's go, no notes.
That's my baby. That's my baby.
We're going at it at 110%.
I just want 5 minutes of happiness, please. Just give me 5 minutes.
And they scored! They did it!
Slap.
What the hell was that? Oh, yeah!
What the f*** are you talking about?
All right, everybody, welcome in. It's Monday night. We are the Sports Hounds, Doug Minkiewicz, Brad Ryer. I'm Rob Brinkman. You guys know what to do by now. Hit that like, hit that subscribe, turn those notifications on. Don't miss anything as we get into playoff season, the MLB. We'll be talking some football later on. Brad's Giants are going to be in a battle tonight without Saquon Barkley. He isn't active tonight. Against the Seattle Seahawks.
And Andrew Thomas, who might even be more important.
Andrew Thomas is out.
Your quarterback's always out. Your quarterback's
I halfway
always
like I halfway like the Giants in this spot. I think it's gonna be a high-scoring game. But no,
for the Seahawks.
I'm Daniel Jones as quarterback. There's no such thing as a high-scoring game.
I guess we'll see. But we got playoff
Rob,
baseball.
the Giants did get their brains beat in last year by Seattle. Just
that
in case
they did.
They
I don't know. I just look at them. Just look at the Giants. I don't know. I think they might win tonight. Maybe not.
From your mouth to God's ears, but I don't think so.
Remember, hit that like, hit that subscribe. We're live on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, X, Instagram. Stream us wherever you get your podcasts, Spreaker, Spotify, Google Play, iHeartRadio, and iTunes. Each and every Monday night, we are brought to you by Baguio's Breads, located in Mount Laurel, New Jersey, home of the best stuffed breads, tomato pies, sandwiches, cutlets, and meatballs. Mention A2D Radio for 10% off your in-store purchase. Now open from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. every Sunday afternoon to help you better service your football watching needs. Eagles, Giants, maybe a Saturday Florida State action. Get into that. Big game against Virginia Tech this week.
It's a bye week.
Lot to talk about. But let's start with the Major League Baseball playoffs. Our poll question tonight: the Philadelphia Phillies represent the National League in the World Series. Agree or disagree? Their road's not going to be easy at all, especially in these first two rounds. I mean, it seems like we can't shake these Marlins. They always give the Phillies problems. I don't want to say nervous as a fan for this series because they are better than the Marlins, but the Marlins, they are a stick in the mud, especially against the Phillies. They get all three games at home. I'm reluctantly optimistic with this series, even though I think that this is the toughest draw possible. You get the Marlins, then you got the Braves. Then I think you actually might get a breath of fresh air in the NLCS. If the Phillies make it to the NLCS, which I do think they will beat Atlanta, I think that 5-game series is crucial. I don't know if they beat the Braves in a 7-game series, but you get the short series, the 5 games. The Marlins are the talk of the town right now because the Phillies never seem to beat them. And I hate to sound cliche, but the Phillies really need to get off to a good start in game 1, and that's going to start with Zach Wheeler. Zach Wheeler is going to need to be the ace that we need him to be. He makes over $20 million a year. He's got to get this ball rolling tomorrow, 8 o'clock on ESPN, for the Phillies to have a chance in this series. Sounds cliche, got to win game 1, best of 3, but the Phillies really need Zach Wheeler to step up. I'm going to agree with the poll question. Maybe it's homer, maybe it's bias, but I think they get past the Marlins. I think they get past the Braves. Wouldn't surprise me to see the Brewers or the Diamondbacks sneak through to the NLCS because I don't know what's going on with the Dodgers rotation right now. So I think once you get past these first 2 rounds, if they can get past the first 2 rounds, I think they're going to go back to the World Series. They'll probably play the Astros. The Astros just they
do what they do.
They get a bye. Them and the Orioles have a bye in the American League. Seattle's out. Texas, Toronto, and Tampa Bay are the wild cards over there. Should be some exciting baseball over the next couple of days here. These best of 3s are a lot of fun. I really liked them last year. So the best of 3s are going to be the Rays and the Rangers, the Phillies and the Marlins, the Blue Jays and
Doug's Twins.
Thank you. And I'm missing one, the Diamondbacks and the Brewers.
Yeah, which is no one cares series.
Because they're not markets, or you don't think they're good teams?
That's like MLB's worst nightmare. I'm sitting there looking at this going, ugh. Like, you actually have to watch that series. Like, someone's going to have to watch that.
And then the Brewers going to be without their ace. One of their aces, Brandon Woodruff. He's not going to be able to pitch. But Brad, to the poll question, Phillies World Series. They going back? They falling short?
I disagree. I think they beat the Marlins, and then I think the Atlanta Braves have been waiting all season, licking their chops, just waiting to bury the Phillies and send them home. And the Atlanta Braves will destroy them this year. If the Phillies win a game in that series, I'll be surprised. I think the Phillies are lucky they're playing a weak, crappy team like the Marlins. The Marlins were 6 games over 500? I mean, that's a joke. If they were in the American League, they wouldn't have even had a sniff of the playoffs.
There we go. I knew
the Phillies should go. The Phillies. This has nothing to do with the Yankees. It has to do with the fact that the National League, other than the Dodgers, Braves, Phillies, and I give maybe the Brewers. They're not that bad either.
You just named half the playoff field.
The whole playoff field.
Well,
you just named the whole playoff field. By the way, Arizona's not a slouch team either. They can really hit the ball. They don't.
Yeah, I saw how they hit the ball against. I saw how they hit the ball against the Yankees. The Yankees bashed them all over the field.
East. That tells you that because they got the beat up on the Red Sox who were awful, and the Yankees who were awful all year.
And the Yankees swept Houston in Houston. So what does that tell you?
3 East teams in it because they got the beat up on two supposedly powerhouses with big payrolls who have absolutely garbage for freaking players.
Well, they still managed to be over 500, Doug.
Who cares? Who cares? If you lead the league in payroll, you don't care about finishing 500. That shouldn't even enter your equation.
Of course not. But you know what? At least the point is, at least they were good enough to do that and not be a disgrace and like the Red Sox were.
You're both a disgrace. You finish 4th and 5th in your division, you're a disgrace. When you're staring at the Twins and you're staring at Toronto.
They weren't. Were they the Mets? No.
Why do you compare yourself with the Mets? You both stink.
We play in the same town.
You stink, and there's no light at the end of the tunnel. But getting back to the poll question. I think they have the best chance.
The Phillies are not getting past Atlanta. Period. Atlanta is going to beat them, as I said. They are licking their chops right now, just waiting to play the Phillies and knock them right back to Philadelphia and send their asses home. And then the Braves
picking them.
And then the Braves will be playing the Dodgers, and then the Braves will beat the Dodgers, and the Braves will win the World Series. That's my opinion.
When's the last time the best team in the league won the World Series?
Let's see.
I feel like it's been a while.
It can't be 1998, can it?
It's been a long time. Don't sleep on, like, the Braves had a great year, phenomenal year.
Have you seen their lineup?
I don't care. 5 days off means we have this topic of conversation every time we talk. You know what 5 days does to a power guy? It's not just power.
They've got guys who hit 300. They've got guys who can hit for power. They hit behind the runner. They're fast. They're athletic. They look right now. They look like they look like the best team in baseball right now. I just don't see how anybody beats them.
Did they play today?
Are they playing today?
Nope, they're not playing tomorrow.
No.
They're not playing Wednesday. They're not playing Thursday. We'll see.
Doug, you think the bye hurts?
100%. I see this format and makes you want to puke. Like, here you are, you have the number 1 seed, you want to play. You want to just keep playing. This bye with this, like, thanks for coming bowl that we have to watch, and, like, no offense, but, like, is this what Major League Baseball had in mind when they had the extra round of the playoffs, is to have the Diamondbacks play the Brewers? No. Did they want to have 3 teams from a mediocre division? Like, that's like, it was almost like by default that 2 teams made the playoffs, right? I mean, like, you went down to the wire. I get the races, but, like, let's be realistic. Like, if you break it down to the old school rules, even before the wild card, it's going to end up the top 4, doesn't it always, for the most part? I mean, on average.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Pretty much,
Like,
yeah.
let's cut through the chase and just like, if there's 4 teams, you're going to take
The Astros, Baltimore, the Braves, and probably the Dodgers right now.
I just don't see. I'm very curious to see how Atlanta plays in October.
Well, I would think that
The last
would be
time they won the
ready
World
to
Series,
go.
Acuna wasn't there. He wasn't there. And the reason why they won the World Series is because he was hurt. That's the
Okay.
only reason why they won the World Series. And if they get off to a bad start and start pressing, they still have a ton of youth as far as postseason experience. Olsen's never been there. Not much.
Yeah,
Who
he was
else?
there once last year.
The Riley, yes, Riley has it. They have a World Series championship, yes, but they're not all of them offensively. They were led by other players. They were led by the Rosarios, right? The Adam Duvalls, Jock Petersons. Well, now it's their turn to be those guys. We'll see. We'll see. I'm not
Well,
saying
they also had what's his name, Freddie
Freeman.
They had Freddie Freeman too, which they don't have.
And you know what? Like I said, you can have a fantastic year and have a really bad 3 days, and you're going home.
Oh, of course you can, but
So,
the quality of their pitching is still they have the best pitching in baseball as well. That's part of it, Doug. I mean,
You're going off. Okay, if they play the Phillies, you're telling me that
you're telling me that anybody other than Wheeler could be in their starting rotation? Because I disagree with you. Other than Wheeler, who's making the Braves starting rotation on the Phillies?
the point
Nola
is,
stinks, so don't even go there. His ERA was like 4.6, 4.7. He was terrible this year.
who cares about this year? It doesn't matter about this year. You're about to walk into October.
Okay. How did he pitch when it mattered in October last year in the
When you
World
let me
Series?
finish my
Fantastic.
sentence.
He pitched fantastic in October last
He
year.
got clobbered in the
you
World
answered
Series when
my-
they had a chance to get back into it.
You finished my sentence and you finished it wrong again. My point was if Zach Wheeler's A game, can he beat anybody in the big leagues? Yes,
So can Spencer Strider.
100%. But who's done it before and who hasn't?
Well, the Braves.
That means
If I
something.
check, and the last time I looked, the Phillies haven't won a World Series since 2008. The Braves just won 2 years ago, and a lot of those guys are on the team right now. And a lot of them
Well,
that
that
didn't
team
got
has
their
nothing-
experience last year. You don't think they're going to be loaded up and waiting? They're going to have their guns waiting for the Phillies.
Which makes them more vulnerable than the other way. Which this is like arguing with a blind man trying to describe the color blue to somebody. Because you're a Yankee fan and you can't ever see anything but that. Like this isn't 98 anymore. It's not going to happen. Understand
What does
this.
the Yankees have nothing to do with this.
My point is when you pass the baton to other players,
Okay.
like when you become the focal point of a lineup, which the majority of the Braves guys weren't when last time they won. You had the MVP of the National League on your team, and he was a veteran who has done it several times in the postseason, knows what to expect. It's a difference between being one of the supplementary parts and being the guy. We don't know how Acuna's going to react in the postseason. He's probably going to be fantastic. But if he gets a really bad game, 2 games, and all of a sudden the media gets on him a little bit, and the national media does, guess what? By the time he comes out of it, the season's over with.
But that could happen to anybody, Doug.
You're the one sitting here blowing them like they're already crowned World Series champs because they have such a great year. And I'm telling you, name the last time the best team in the league won the World Series.
I would say last year the best team won. No,
Do they have the best record? I don't know.
I don't know what their record was. I don't
That's
remember
my
that.
point.
They were the
You
one
sit there
seed,
and go,
but
oh my
they were
gosh,
loaded.
they're running away with it. They're running away with
The
it.
Astros were the best team in the league last year. I don't think anybody could question
I'm not
that.
saying it can't happen. I'm saying on average, the best team doesn't win the World Series. Not very often. It happens, yes. The Astros had vulnerable moments last year where they should have been knocked out of the postseason, but they weren't. Hell, they shouldn't have made it through Seattle the one year.
That's true.
That's all it takes is one bad bounce. So, to sit here and tell me that the Braves are chomping at the bit to get the Phillies back. If you're concentrating on what happened last year, you'll be playing golf by Saturday. You can't worry about what happened last year. You have to worry about right now. And that's it.
So, Doug, it sounds like you're a big proponent of the Braves have the bye. They have all the pressure because they're a higher seed. They also got to sit. So it sounds like if the Phillies can squeeze through this Marlins team, it sounds like you're giving the Phillies an advantage in the series because
I think they're vulnerable. I think the Braves are vulnerable early.
What do you mean by early? Like
you get them in that you beat the Marlins and you get to that 5-game series. If you can blink and they'll go home.
What do you think of the 5-game series versus the 7-game series?
I hate the 5-game series, but if I'm the underdog,
it's good.
It's great. Like when the Twins played the A's in 2002. I don't think we win that if it's a 7-game series. It's a 5-game series. We had a shot, and we did. You don't have to be 5-game series. You don't have to be uber talented to win a 5-game series. You don't.
No, you just got to get 2 hot pitchers, and you
don't have to really. I mean, honestly, you really don't. You have to be playing well to win a 7-game series. I mean, it's not about who's the best. It's about who's the hottest right now, and we don't. No one can answer that question right now. No one can.
No, but you can only go by what you saw during the season.
But the season has nothing to do with what's going to happen in October. Absolutely nothing.
No, it's a new season.
Guys have horrible years. It's all about track records. Like the only thing that concerns me about the Phillies is if they have anything left in the tank from last year. Or there's 2 ways you can look at that side of the coin. They either been kind of going through the, let's say, motions to get back to where they are now, to show they're a veteran kind of club that all we got to do is get in, and now we're dangerous, and now they go, or they're out of gas from last year.
I mean, they were playing really well leading up to clinching. I believe it was against the Pirates on Tuesday. They clinched. They won. They were on 7-8 game winning streak there, and then they clinch and things happened. Guys got rested, so that kind of went away. But the Phillies were playing very well prior to clinching.
They smell it. I just don't think. I don't see. I think the Phillies have a better chance of beating the Braves than the Dodgers do, because it's a short series.
Phillies
have a better chance of
I
beating
don't even
the
know
Braves.
if the Dodgers are going to get. I don't know if the Dodgers are going to get to the NLCS.
No,
You're not worried about that pitching? No.
Yeah, but
Who
they
are
think
gonna
that's
play?
Yeah, what pitching staff is going to stop them? If the
I
Brewers
mean, you got
get through-
Gallen, you got Gallen and Kelly, and you got
Kelly's not that good. Gallen, yes, Kelly's not that good.
And then you have the
and the
Brewers.
Astros
The Brewers
bullpen
are
is
going to
shaky.
have.
Brewers aren't going to
Peralta.
have. They're not going to have Woodruff though.
Yeah, but that's
Well,
one.
they're not going to have him for the wild card game, wild card round. I guess we'll see.
Bullpen.
Yeah, I mean, against the Dodgers lineup, I don't think so. I mean, once the Dodgers have to start playing, the top teams, it's going to be a little more difficult for them. But basically on the first, either if it's Milwaukee or the Marlins, which the Marlins are not beating the Phillies, no way in hell that's happening. If it's either one of them, I favor the Dodgers big time. I don't think those teams have the pitching to be able to beat the Dodgers.
There's Brad Kreisen. Hey guys, do you think the Marlins can beat the Phillies? Yes, I do think the Marlins they can. I think they will. It's just they're pests down there in South Florida, and they're going to have a lefty on the mound in Game 1, Jesus Luzardo, who's pretty good. I wouldn't call him an 8, but he's pretty good. And I think that lefty strikeout guy can give the Phillies some problems. So
what about Alcantara? What's the deal with him?
He is out for the year.
He's out for the year.
Out for the year? That's a big one.
They shut him down. He was trying to come back. Maybe they reopen things now that they're still playing, but all indications are that he will not pitch again, regular season or postseason. So
yeah, I don't see it. The Marlins they don't have a great bullpen either. I just don't see that.
Well, the Phillies have some problems in the bullpen of late. Craig Kimbrell is not first half Craig Kimbrell anymore. They got this rookie.
Don't sleep on the training staff.
On the training staff?
Sleep on what the training staff can make these guys feel like.
What do you mean by that?
But it would be nice for Craig Kimbrell to get 4 days off.
They can make them feel as good as they want to. Let's put it that way.
Okay.
He won't feel a thing. Get back out there.
Good. But I mean, you look at the Phillies. I mean, you have Hoffman out there. I guess Lorenzen is going to be a bullpen guy now, which, Doug, you called that when he threw all those pitches for that no-hitter, that he was going to take a dump. And he did. So, Doug, are you still going no?
The playoffs come down to someone like that, right? They always come down to someone like that. Someone's going to have to rescue you at some point, right? You're going to have someone that's not really in the role that they're supposed to be in, and they weren't in all year, but they find, he gets 4 innings of relief work, or you throw in the lineup when he gets 2 hits and drives in 4. That's what this is all about. And I trust Topper going into, if they get past the Marlins, I trust Topper more than I trust the Braves guy. The Braves guy's on cruise control. I don't think he really. I'm not to take a shot at him, but has he had to manage a game, like a really tough one, with this group?
Not really.
With this group, it's easy. Don't get me wrong. It's easy to manage when you're boat racing people, and you have a guy like Freddie Freeman. Well, and I know Olsen had an amazing, almost historic
54 home runs this year.
Right, exactly. But when it hits the fan, because they're going to come a point in this postseason where Atlanta's going to get punched in the face and they have to respond. Then you find out what kind of makeup they have. I'm not sold on them. I'm not sold on their makeup yet. I'm not.
So you think as long as it's peaches and cream, the Braves are going to be fine. But when they get hit in the mouth, you have concerns.
I have tremendous concerns.
Looks like it's going to be Wheeler versus Luzardo in game 1, and then Nola versus Braxton Garrett in game 2. Nola's a no-brainer in game 2, correct?
Yeah.
He's got
have to, right?
You have to. Again, you got to go by who you have, and again, all these guys that had so subpar years that you think of, they pitched one good game in October and all's forgiven. So you have a chance to redeem yourself. We talked about that early on this show. You're pissed off at Nola all the time. Well, am I wrong? It's a contract year for him, right?
That's correct.
Oh, this could be epic. He might if he gets off on an October run, he might price himself out of his own club. And the Yankees will overpay for him, and he'll be stink.
I don't think the Yankees will be going after him. He wouldn't be.
They've gone after way worse than that.
This is true, but I don't think they'd be going after him.
Right. They already wasted their money on Rodon.
No, they do need a lefty, but I don't know. That's kind of what they need. Rodon is bad, but we'll get to him later. So you think that somebody has to have on the Phillies like the Graham Lloyd moment? If you remember Graham Lloyd when he pitched with the Yankees, how bad he was during the season and how good he was in the playoffs, that kind of thing.
The only thing I remember is I liked facing him. About Graham Lloyd. And he was Australian, right? The Australian guy?
Yep. Big Australian left-handed pitcher, threw a lot of crap. I think he threw a bunch of slow stuff, right?
A lot of sliders. But I'm just saying someone's going to have to step up at some point, right? Someone that you're not expecting, that might be down on or hasn't done a ton, and there's always someone. Because a starter gets knocked out somewhere, blister, comebacker, whatever it is. Comebacker off the shin, off the finger,
Well, that guy Dominguez on the Phillies who had a bad year. Maybe he comes back and plays great against pitches great in the playoffs. Maybe that's what's going to happen.
I don't know. I guess it's just because I'm just a Bryce Harper fan. I just think when your superstars have a snarl and a grit to them, your team follows that. And I just think that there's no one. I admit when Bryce signed with the Phillies, I was like, ooh, I don't know about that. It's a lot of heat to put on him, right? Because Philly fans expect the most and demand the best and everything else. Not saying he couldn't handle it, but I thought that was a weird fit. It's either going to be, I always thought it was going to either be like Cinderella or it was going to be a complete nightmare, right? Washington, he's in Washington, you don't quite know, but for the way he plays, there's not a better place for him than there. that appreciate what he does. He's a superstar, but he'll run through a wall, right? He hustles it out when he's supposed to. You know what I mean? Like, he has a snarl to him. Like,
He's also a supremely talented player.
Absolutely. But when your supremely talented players have that grit and have that tenacity to them, your club follows, your front office follows, your fan base follows, and your fan base didn't need any push to be more passionate. So I trust him. I trust the guys around him. I trust the fact that he won't slide. He won't let guys quit. And I just feel like I just trust that. And plus I want to see him finish one up. I want to see him finish one in Philly. I really do.
Did you see his interaction with Angel Hernandez?
Yes,
the
I
other
did.
night, Doug?
Yes, I did. Yes, and it's just I tweeted it about it. And I was just like, "Come on."
Angel Hernandez is such an idiot.
Is
that bad of it?
It's not only is he horrible, he's never been wrong. Never.
And he's such an arrogant asshole too.
He's never been wrong. He's the most unapproachable. Like, the world's out to get me. Like, just bad at what he does, and it's front. And that's why players and managers and everybody else get, like, they have because every umpire blows calls, right? And they're human. Like, the best ones, the great ones will tell you, like, Doug, I missed it. And what are you going to say to that? All right, just don't miss it again. You're still mad, but, like, for everybody involved, like, you think the umpires can't see that too? Like, the other ones, you're like,
oh, it's got to be a nightmare being on his crew because you know there's going to be an incident.
It's so frustrating because, like, we know what we had to do to get to that level. We know what we had to do to stay at that level. And then you have this guy who completely just screws it up every single night. And it's both sides. And you're just like, you see him, like, you see the schedule of before the game starts, and you see the umpiring crew, and you're like, you got to be shitting me. Like, and that's both teams. Like, from the analytic guy that's sitting in some cubicle to the catcher to the manager to the ball boy. It's just like, how can you continually? It's almost like you're doing it on purpose now because you can't physically be that bad. Like, it's just. I
do think he does it on purpose. I mentioned that on Facebook, and I got a lot of people, like, scoffing at me. Well, he's just horrible. I think he does it to get attention.
You have to be, in order to be able to blow those calls as bad as he does, you've got to be extra talented not to get them right, and he ain't that. So, like, it's just like, I mean, it's like every time you blink, he's doing something. Like, he's doing something that's just, and then he's suing the league because he didn't get a chance to do this. No, Angel, you just stink, and no one wants to see you. No one wants to see you mess up a playoff game.
Doug, how many umpires eject people when they're umpiring third base? I mean, how often does that happen? Like,
yeah, the left-handed
like once a season.
It happens.
Yeah, very rarely though.
Very rarely.
Very rarely. Usually, I mean, first base.
Joey Votto in his last game. How do you throw out Joey Votto in his last game? Like, he got ejected yesterday. Like, how do you?
I saw that.
Unless, I mean, what is Joey Votto really going to say to you? That's one, that's that bad, and two, unless he asked them to throw him out, which I don't think he did. But it's like, it sent me over the edge, like, going like, that's the part that drives me absolutely crazy.
Which umpire did that?
I don't know. It had to be a young guy. It's just like, they have no feel. There's no feel to what's going on. Like, earlier in the year when Freddie Freeman stepped out and they gave him a pitch clock, like, violation. It's like, come on, man. Like, you want this stuff for the fans, right? Everything's about the fans. Well, here the fans are giving their favorite player a standing ovation. Override the damn pitch clock and let the fans get what they want. They want to give Freddie Freeman, whoever, Mookie Betts, a long ovation in Boston. Let them do it. Like, you can't talk out both sides of your ass. Like, you're doing it for the fans. You're speeding the game up. You're ruining the game of baseball for the fans, right? The big stupid bases, and you can't throw over many times. And it's just like, and then they have a chance to give it back to a player. You bang them for not being in the batter's box. It's like, come on, man. Like, it's just, you can't have it both ways. Like, the game wasn't that bad off to start with.
Then they put it on the teams. Like, if you think that that's going to happen to one of your players, like, you got to file a form with the league before. Like,
you don't know. And, like, it's like, and even you get more and more like the people that are all the attendance is up. Oh, it's not. No, it's not. Like for how many decades they've been spitting out like what the number of tickets they sell. They don't count people that come into the game. They don't count that.
No, they don't care.
They count the freaking tickets they sell. So you almost want to shake the generation and be like I pray for the future. If you guys are getting duped by this, like I have oceanfront property in Arizona you should buy tomorrow. Like it's just like, come on, man. Like come on, stop.
Doug, how many umpires in the major would you say are good umpires?
Majority of them.
Majority of them.
I mean, let's put it this way. I can't speak for the last maybe 4. I can't speak from like the last 3 or 4 years, but I do know the guys that were – I came up in a great time where like the Tim McClellans, the Jim Joyces of the world were still there, right? And they were getting older. And they, most of them were experienced umpires. So we had to mind our P's and Q's as young players and get their and earn their respect and vice versa. And then as I got older, the younger wave started coming. And you could tell they're a little more edgy, didn't have the same fuse as the other guys. And then I started managing in minor league baseball, going, oh no, like if this crop is coming, we've got some issues. And I will say this, the more experience you get there, the longer you stay there, generally the more tolerant they come, they're more human. And I've always stuck up for them only because you get critiqued every game. Every call you have, you get critiqued. And now they got the box on the TV, and it's like, like they want perfection in an imperfect sport. And that's and their defense, like the worst thing you can do for them is put the stupid box up. Because it's real easy to look at it from a center field camera from your living room and say, oh, it hit the white line, it's a strike. But when you're sitting behind it in the elements and you're standing up for 3.5, 4 hours, like it's different. So but I will say this. When they start to make things personal, that's where most players have an issue.
Personal.
Yeah, like they're human. You have people you like, you have people you don't like.
Right.
Someone says hello to you, you're like, hey. Someone else says hello to you, you want to punch them in the throat, right? It's just human nature. Like they're human too. They watch the same stuff we do, and they try to be professional, but there's just and they don't forget, right? Dion talks about how he keeps receipts, right? Umpires do too. And if you disrespect one of their buddies on another crew,
right,
they will get you back without you even knowing. Like they banged you because of what you did 2 series ago to his friend. So, and that's. I mean, trust me, I'm on both sides of it because like there's some guys I wish they would call everything on just because they are jackasses. But at the same token, you want to be as professional as you possibly can. And 99% of them are. Like I said, they're human, man. You can't – if they keep doing it over and over again, like if I've done something wrong to you, and then you start talking. But one bad call at the wrong time can be heated, and you know what? They understand that too. The good ones, the great ones do.
A lot of them just have no patience at all.
A
lot of them are bad too. There's one umpire in particular who I really have a beef with this year is Laz Diaz. He's horrible.
My Little League games.
Huh?
Laz umpired my Little League games since I was like 7 years old.
And you know what? He probably couldn't call strikes then. He's so bad now. He's so bad.
Hey, stop chirping in the dugout.
He's like Eric Gregg. He's like the new Eric Gregg now. Remember Eric Gregg?
Eric Gregg was awesome.
Yeah, it was awesome. If you're a pitcher.
Yeah, right.
Remember that one game? I think it was Eric Gregg. It was in '97.
Yeah, the Levon Hernandez game.
The Levon Hernandez game. He was just calling everything a strike. The game was like 2 hours and 10 minutes.
He's getting 5 feet off the plate, ringing guys up.
Well, when David Cohn pitched against the Braves in '96 in Atlanta, and he threw a ball that had to be a foot off the plate outside, and he called a strike 3 on I think Chipper Jones, and Chipper Jones was going nuts. The ball was so far outside, it was ridiculous.
Now, does the MLB do the super crews like they do in the NFL?
I think they do. They mix and match them, and it doesn't make any sense too, because like maybe they've changed it because I haven't really paid attention to it in the last couple of years, but like we would get the playoff umpiring crew, and you'd be like, why did those two guys make it? Like, like that the other guys are home, and it's weird too because like they'll do some series, at least back then, like if they did the division round, they couldn't do the ALCS, and they couldn't do it. It's like so. Like, it just doesn't make sense. Don't you want your best doing the most important games? Not by tenure or like
they put out a report after every game.
He's been terrible since day one. So, I just hope that I'm not sure how they do it now, if they even let them go back to back, but you would think the most important games you would want your best crew doing it. It'd be an honor to do it, right?
Yeah, I mean, they put that report out after every game about how many strikes you missed or how many calls you missed.
The mistake they make is they should let the players vote on it for the postseason. That's all that matters, right? Gives a shit about. No offense, like we don't care about what the fans don't get to vote on what umpires come. Like, let the players vote who they want for the World Series.
Well, the pitchers are all gonna vote for certain umps, and then the players are gonna vote for the umps that don't call any strikes.
Well, it depends. They can't all. I mean, they're gonna have some that don't like it and some that do.
Yeah, that's the only.
Your alternative is you get stuck with Angel Hernandez in a fucking playoff game. Pardon my French, and you're gonna get screwed.
Yeah, that would be bad.
You think about swinging, he's gonna bang. He's gonna try. I mean, Bryce Harper literally just thought about swinging. Like, didn't even move.
Yeah. No, that was a terrible call.
Like, if that's the same time, second and third, 1 out in the NLCS in Game 7, like the fans might storm the field and absolutely like shank Angel Hernandez.
They might.
You're from Philly. Can you imagine that?
Yeah, I mean, there would be. It would be ugly for sure, but I can't imagine Angel Hernandez is going to be anywhere near the playoffs. No.
He tried to sue. He dug his own grave though when he tried to sue MLB and called him racist and saying that he's Cuban or whatever. He's like Latin descent and he never gets to do it. Like, no, Angel, you don't get to do it because you stink.
Yeah, exactly. Of all the guys trying to sue, he's the last one that should sue anybody. They should be suing him for being so bad.
I should sue him for PTSD for such bad calls. Like, I'd probably win that for sure.
Doug, how do you go about working an ump for a call? Is there a strategy to do
That's
it?
the luxury of playing first base.
Okay.
You get 9 innings of the night before to kind of, set it up and butter him up a little bit and be like, yeah.
Because he goes to the plate after first, right?
Correct. Yep.
Right. Okay.
It backfires too. I remember Doug Eddings, biggest strike zone in America, diehard Dolphins fan. We'd sit over there from Double-A all the way through the big leagues. We would go over every player, coaching staff, offensive lineman, scheme we're running, the best report ever. First pitch the next day, 4 inches inside. Ha! Damn it, Doug. That is not a strike. That is not a strike. And I remember one game in Pittsburgh, I chased him up the tunnel. I'll never forget this. I think I was 6 for 6 off of Jake Peavy. I think with 2 home runs. And I got a spot start against him when I was in Pittsburgh. And Doug Eddings was behind the plate. And I struck out twice. And I was livid. I was like, they were so bad, blatantly bad. I'm like, I have yet to make an out against this guy. Like, I don't care if I haven't played in 3 years. I'm going to get a hit off Jake Peavy. And I didn't make any sense because Jake Peavy was nasty. But, the point was, I remember he rung me up on a bad call again. I was like, I chased him in the tunnel. I was like trying to knock on the door, and Jim Joyce, thank God, grabbed me. I was like, Doug, you can't do this. I'm like, hang on a second. I want to show him video and be like, you tell me if that's a strike. Is it me or am I losing my mind? That is not a strike, and that's what they won't do. They won't go back and look at it. Well, that's the one thing I do appreciate in that regard. They make them they make them look at like they're because they hand it to everybody. Before a pre-series, you get the umpiring crew, the guy behind the home plate, the hitters get their hot zone, whatever, and the sort of the pitchers, sort of the catchers. So there's no hide it anymore. But yeah, you butter them up. You talk to them you talk all kinds of stuff. I mean, I send them drinks before, see them out at dinner, pay for their dinner. See them out, joke around, send them a pair of glasses. Just to make it lightheartedness, right? Like send them over a pair of readers. Like I know you can't see the menu because I can see by the way you call balls. Like here, take these. Like we'll order for you since you guys are blind. But like just and then once that kind of gets going, you kind of realize, all right, we're human and we're all in the big leagues together, and but like you kind of leave it at that. But they are intimidating when you're a young player. They're very intimidating. You get a little, you don't say much to them, and when you start to kind of get a little couple days under your belt, you kind of like venture out, start shooting it, what with them.
There's Greg Malachlik. What's up, fellas? Marlins worry me with their lefties, but I agree to the poll. Let's do this.
I look at that though. Their lefties, they hit lefties just as well as they hit righties.
Yeah.
Numbers wise.
I think it's just
the Phillies have plenty of good right-handed hitters.
I guess we'll see.
Maybe they're worried about Schwarber, but when Harper's hot, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter who's pitching when Harper is on fire. Harper's going to get you out anyway. I mean, Harper's going to get a hit anyway.
I mean, that's why I'm telling you, Nick Castellanos is the X factor. Had a great year. He can carry you in the postseason too. Like I said, what's his face needs one more guy. Schwarber's dangerous regardless. He's tailor made for October.
Play-by-play with JJ. I want Orion Keckering pitching over Sir Anthony Dominguez. Fresh off the farm, he's been up for about a week, and now it looks like he's going to have a huge role in the Phillies bullpen. Orion Keckering pitching over Sir Anthony. Sir Anthony hasn't been good at all. We need Kimbrel to right the ship. We need Alvarado to do his thing. Then that third spot between Sir Anthony, Jeff Hoffman, maybe Lorenzen is a huge question mark. So I don't know how do you know Orion at all? Are you familiar with him, Doug?
I'm looking it up right now. No, I've never heard of him. But
he throws hard. He's got a nice slider.
I'm telling you, a key to postseason baseball too is hiding people. They don't have any. I mean, he's thrown 3 innings. I mean, think of the Rays bullpens over the last 5 years. Did you really see half of those guys?
No.
No.
So you think that's good?
I mean, go back to 2002 and the Angels. No one had any really data on K-Rod.
No.
It was up for 3 weeks. That's you hit lightning in a bottle, man. You ride it out.
They all knew who. What's his name was though? What's his name? Troy Percival.
Yeah, they K-Rod threw probably tougher outs than Troy did. Longer. Him and Donnelly were the 2 guys they brought up from the minor leagues that year. And no one had ever seen them before. So that takes balls to throw those kids out there in the situation. But hey, again, you're gonna need contributions from guys you weren't expecting when you broke camp, and that could be one of them, right? So now you got me intrigued. Watch the game with Orion Keckering.
Ryan Swoopy scares me. Pitchers will not throw to him in the playoffs. They will throw him breaking balls. He needs to lay off. If he does, they will throw him. But if he doesn't off, they will keep throwing curveballs after curve outside. I assume he's talking about Bryce Harper there.
That's where I
said worried about Bryce Harper.
That's what I would think.
That's where Nick comes in. Nick comes in because Castellanos comes in.
I'm not worried about Bryce Harper.
Trey Turner, telling you, that Trey Turner pickup's gonna be huge.
Well,
This is why you get Trey Turner because of now.
They're going to need him to be absolutely outstanding.
But it's hard playing in Philly. It's hard going east, man. It's hard to go east after you've been in LA. When LA is like there's no pressure in LA. None. Like he went from LA, right? Trey went to LA to Philly. It takes a while.
That comment was about Nick Castellanos. So
Yeah,
you're on Castellanos because of their lefties. You think that's a good matchup? That's a matchup.
I think Nick can hit anybody. I like Nick better against righties than I do lefties, but like Nick's approach is tailor made for that ballpark, and like what Nick does well is what he knows. Meaning, like he stays right center, and a lot of guys get themselves in trouble in October because emotions are higher. Right, adrenaline kicks in. You're trying to launch. You're trying to leak. You're trying to leave early. Trying to pull. That's not what Nick does. Even as bad a year as Nick had under his standards 2 years ago, last year, he still had some pretty big at bats in the postseason. And he's gonna. I mean, now he's coming off a really good year. Nick's gonna be all right.
I think they're going to miss Rhys Hoskins in the playoffs. That's my question to both you guys.
Yeah, but I mean, you can't worry about who you don't have. You have to worry about what you have. It wasn't like he got hurt yesterday. He got hurt 6 months ago. But he was. I mean, he had big hits, but he didn't have a lot of them, and that's my point. It doesn't take a lot of hits. It just takes the right hit at the right time, and it'll get you either going or get you one
clutch. Being clutch is going to be huge. Yeah, it always is.
Getting the opportunities to getting your players in a spot to where they can be clutch too. It's just giving them more opportunity. Give guys, you got to keep pushing the envelope, and that's where having a complete lineup helps that.
Now, Doug, if you're Topper, like you're not changing much, right? You can't, right? You can't.
Nope.
You can't have guys do stuff that they haven't done all season just because it's the playoffs.
Correct. You trust in them. You ride them out there, and you believe in the 9 you got or 10 you're going to throw out there, whatever it is. The 10, one guy off the bench maybe. Might have 1 or 2 guys you switch here and there, but like you've got your boys and you know what you're doing. You have to let them ride.
And then I think that they have the lineup set, at least from a defensive standpoint. I don't know how they're going to stack them 1 through 9 in terms of order, but you're going to have Harper at first. You're going to have Schwarber DHing, and you're going to have Marsh and Rojas in left and center. And obviously you have Bohm, Turner, Stott across the rest of your infield, and Nick's going to be in right, and Rojas is going to be in center. That's got to be the alignment from a defensive standpoint. Stack them however you want. Schwarber's going to hit leadoff, even though we don't really like it here in Philadelphia. But I mean, that ship has sailed. I mean, you're not going to not hit him leadoff at this point. And then I guess, what do you put Nick in that 3 hole against the lefty?
Whatever lineup they've been running out there, that's what I leave it at that. I don't change it.
So
for the most part, I like Nick in like the 5 hole, lengthens you out a little bit. It depends. Like in my opinion, you want Bryce to hit in the first inning. That's my opinion.
Agreed.
You go some sort of, Schwarber,
a righty like Turner.
Go Schwarber, Turner, Bryce, Nick, or JT, then Nick, and then that's a deep top 6 or 7 guys. You're taking away. Braun had a pretty damn good. You're driving 97 runs. You're doing something that young of a player. Yeah, 20 and 97 is nothing to shake a stick at. You can creep that in the 6-7 hole. And you ain't running, right? So the 2 hole, you don't really. That's the one thing about putting Trey in the 2 hole, kind of negates him. Not that he runs a lot, anyways, but he's still 30 bases. But that's not a lot in today's game, my opinion, for a guy that runs as well as he does. So that's
what do you mean negates him in the 2 hole?
Because you're not going to run. You're going to if Schwarber gets on in front of you, that negates him running there. You don't really want to run in front of Harper. Gotcha. Still second. Now you open up first. Now you're opening up I can screw around with. I don't have to force contact out of Bryce, and then so it's like a kind of I always kind of messing around with my guys who could run with like my better situational hitters, where like you take like your lineup, for example, like Braum. I know he had 97 RBIs, but when you're going over your advanced meetings as a manager and as a staff, you're going by, okay, check. We're not going to let Bryce Harper beat us, right? So check him, cross him off. We eliminate him at all costs. Well, you start doing that now. You start limiting where you can maneuver your lineup, and if you can have Trey be, it gives you want Trey running in the postseason. That's a whole like philosophy of the Phillies. I'm not quite sure, what their philosophy is and how they want to do it, but like meaning like if you want to get the best out of Trey and Trey wants to run a lot, you have him hit in front of like a Braum who can like, okay, Braum will give himself up. He has a knock. He's younger. They're going to come after him. He's got better bat to ball skills than somebody else. They're not just going to. My point is, you don't just want to put Trey behind someone who they're automatically going to just say, "Go." Like I know that creates, a free base, but you don't really want to go through wasting one of Bryce Harper's time at bats by just letting them have a free out of it. You can't back him into a corner.
Ryan Swoop will situational hitting, high strikes, and contact ability be an issue with the Phillies hitting in the playoffs? That's what I'm scared about. Look, they're either going to hit home runs or they're not.
Welcome to MLB in 2023. I think everybody's scared of it.
Like, if you think that they're just going to be like the station baseball team now offensively because it's the playoffs, like, then they're definitely going to lose to the Braves, maybe even the Marlins. You got to go play your game.
I think that's why I think this team is different than like this team's with these new rules. I think they're different. Like you have guys that can steal a base, and like no offense, the way the rules are, you have to pick your poison when you're going to throw over, and then you open up the playbook. So, you look at the numbers here. Like Trey's got 30 stolen bases, Stott's got 31. 14. Realmuto as a catcher, what do you have? 16? Bryce had 11. So, like, everybody's dangerous on the bases. They have a chance to run. It's like you could, like, that's what I mean. Like, the Phillies to me are like a more multifaceted lineup, right? They might not have the star-studded power of the Braves, but they still, like, if you match them up position for position athletically, you got a pretty fair trade-off.
Dynasty 215. Check us out on the YouTube chat. Pache versus lefties, Marsh versus righties. I'm not the biggest fan of platoons in the playoffs. I think you got to pick your guy and you got to go for him. Let him try and get into a rhythm. But I guess analytically, that's the right thing to do.
Is that what they've been doing most of the year?
Not really, because Pache was hurt. And then he came back and he was getting some time. He's the fourth outfielder. Like Marsh, I think he got the 20 home runs, that is. But Brandon Marsh, I mean, he's excellent in the field. He's going to hit the bottom of that lineup.
Here you go. Left, first left. Marsh, let's see, 130 at bats, 96 at bats. 3 homers, 16 RBIs, 12 walks, 43 punch-outs, 229. Pache, 51 at-bats, 16 hits, 6 doubles, 2 homers, 9 RBIs, 3 walks, 11 punch-outs, 5 walks, 13 punch-outs, 314.
That was his average, 314?
Yep. OPS is 200 points higher.
So is there a merit to that comment?
But see, here you go. Like, it just depends on, are there lefties vulnerable to left-handed pitching or left-handed hitting? There are lefties out there that have trouble with the same arm side, right? You guys, like, just how righties have trouble with some righties. Like, there's some lefties that are easier to hit from the left side, and then it goes into who do you trust? You still have to kind of do what. The second you start changing guys' roles of what they've been throughout the course of the year without letting them know what's going to happen is when kind of tragedy strikes. That's why I kept asking. If he's been doing this all year, then I don't see what's going to make him change it. And like when you start doing that, you start losing players.
Well, left field has kind of been like
Revolving door.
Because you got Schwarber out there sometimes, which shouldn't happen in the playoffs. He should be the DH. Then you had Pache. He was doing well. Then he had some elbow thing that he had to get corrected with surgery. He was out. Then Rojas comes up. He's more center. So then Marsh goes to left. So yeah, it's been a little bit of a revolving door. Not in a bad way though, like just different guys. Because Schwarber, when Bryce couldn't play the field, they were stuck.
Right.
So Bryce had the DH and Schwarber had to play left because you can't not have Schwarber's bat in there.
Right.
Now he can just be the DH. And then Rojas is going to play center. He's been terrific defensively. He's going to hit ninth and try and run and get on base for the top. And then Pache is just, I don't know. I don't know if I could do that if I'm Topper. Sit Marsh, who's been there for you all year, pretty consistent offensively and defensively at the end of the lineup. I don't know if I can. I don't know if I'd be able to
do that. You can't be doing that.
But the Phillies, they had a team in '93 that went to the World Series, and it was nothing but platoons.
Yeah.
So I guess it's tough.
Like I said, if you're used to doing it, do it like if that's your formula throughout the course of the season, you don't stop it. I mean, that's where it kind of helps. Like it depends on your depth, right? Like how far, meaning because of Bryce coming back from his elbow injury, that might be the ticket that makes you guys better this year because you had to fill in holes and guys got more playing times, got more experience. Now you have more weapons, right? Instead of just having the same guys go out there all the time. I just feel like the teams that I've been on that have done the front office and the manager kind of lay out the way it is and the way it's going to be, and they tell you your role right out of the chute. When it stays consistent is when you get the best out of everybody. When it starts to change, that's when panic sets in, and you're like, okay, he doesn't trust us anymore. So whatever they've been doing, most of the year, and you can have a hunch too. And I don't even know if you're allowed to do that anymore with today's analytics, but I would think Topper's got some leeway going into this one compared to the ones before. So, he knows his guys better than anybody, and he seemed to more times than not pull the right strings to make this team better.
All right, let's start with some of these other series now. You got the Diamondback. Now you're shuddering that we're gonna have to talk about the Diamondbacks and the Brewers.
We got a coin to flip.
Coin to flip.
Yeah.
I like Arizona here. I like their athleticism. No,
I'm just looking at the
7:30 tomorrow. I think.
That's another
Actually,
thing.
They might not
all
do
four
game
games
one.
are on the same. Those 4 games are
No,
on
one
tomorrow.
game's not on. One series isn't on tomorrow.
How come we all
Toronto's not on tomorrow?
We all say Tuesday.
Really? Okay.
Texas, Tampa Bay 3. Tuesday. So Tuesday at 3, Texas, Tampa Bay. Tuesday at 4:30, Toronto, Minnesota. Tuesday at 7, Arizona, Milwaukee. Tuesday 8 p.m., Miami, Philadelphia.
Okay, so the Phillies are on prime time then.
But
It's probably where they should be.
Of course. Why wouldn't you do 1 though? Start them the games
That's
at 1
odd.
or 2.
Because they won 2 games on it. They won 2 games on it at once.
Getting back to this, I was just looking at the start time for Milwaukee because I know it's really hard to see there during the day. Twilight time, it sucks there. Day games, you can't see anything. Yeah, it's just shadows, and that park was – whoever designed that park, the last person they thought about were the guys that are actually on the field. Because it's hard to see.
Prediction for that series?
Go Fish. Who cares?
So you don't think either of these teams have a snowball's chance in hell to beat the Dodgers?
No, hell no. which means that they probably will. But, like, I don't know. I guess I'll take Arizona just because they're on the road.
You think it helps? You think it helps to be on the road, less pressure?
No, I mean, I don't think it matters in baseball that much. But Arizona hasn't been there in God knows how long. How young are they? And who knows? It might be easier, but this is different. Like this is, it's a regular. It's like a postseason 3-game series in the opponent's backyard. We'll see. I don't know. I don't know much about.
That's a tough one.
I don't know. I don't know much about Milwaukee. I don't because I refuse to watch it. It's like I just can't.
I would take Milwaukee just because they have home field.
So last year, I just looked it up. 3 of the 4 road teams
won
the series. The Phillies beat the Cardinals. The Padres beat the Mets. Seattle beat Toronto. Cleveland was at home. They took care of Tampa.
Oh.
Is that just the first year? Or you think there's merit to the road team?
Like I said, baseball's different. Yes, the fans matter. Don't get me wrong. Like the loudness of it matters, but like, I mean, it's not like football. We're trying to. We don't have a cadence to where we jump off sides. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
pop ups and stuff like that. But like, that's different. Like the whole game isn't predicated on whether we line up right or jump off sides. So, I'm pretty like most of these teams.
Milwaukee is raucous though. They have a raucous crowd.
It's loud. They'll close it. So is if Arizona gets there, Arizona's loud as hell too. It's huge. So all these teams that are in this have dealt with noise before.
Except Tampa Bay.
Tampa, they were in it last year, but like they packed that place out during the postseason, and they've been in the postseason.
I know. I'm just being facetious.
Yeah, like, trust me. You're talking to the least Rays fan in the United States.
Yes, both their fans show up in the playoffs, and
all 6 of them show up.
Right, and they
we have more of the mascot's family.
Right, there you go.
So, Doug, you don't think it's a big deal to have that last at bat?
Yes, but I feel like if you're a young team on the road, you can turn, maybe not in Milwaukee, but this is kind of how we felt when I was a Twin going into New York. Game 1's huge for us. We can turn 55,000 people against the home team if we jump out to an early lead. And we put pressure on them when they screw up. We just made this game harder for them at home than it would be on the road. Fans want to do what? They want to scream. They want to yell. They can't wait. And then it's like, they're just waiting for something good to happen. Some guys lock in. Some guys it affects. I think if you're into this, like, we'll find out. But most guys that can handle this, that get to the postseason, can handle this stuff. And it might lock them in even more. So let's look at it. Let's look at the old Diamondbacks. What did I just see?
Well, they're
1 game over 500 on the road. That's pretty good. That's not bad.
Is Milwaukee a dominant home team?
Milwaukee's 49-32. I wouldn't necessarily call that super dominant, but that's not bad.
That's pretty good.
That's not bad. Yeah, but 41-40 ain't bad either. Being on the road. Let's compare it.
Not at all.
Let me see what we got. Well, Rangers are 40-41 at home away. Tampa's 53-28. See, they like playing in silence. They like playing in the library.
There you go.
The Marlins 38-43 away. Phillies 49-32. And then
Phillies were very good at that. Was their home record or their road record?
That was their home
Phillies.
record. Toronto's 46-35 on the road. They have
pretty good.
They're 1 game off of what the Twins are at home. The Twins are 47-34, and Toronto's 46-35 at home.
I think that's going to be a real interesting series, Doug. The Twins in Toronto.
You want to talk about a home field that will turn on them because they've seen this for too long? They haven't won a playoff game, I think, in 18 tries.
That's the Twins, right?
Yeah,
I
the
saw
last
that today,
series, the last series they've won, I was playing. So, like, you want to talk about turning they're tired of it. They're the best fans in the world, but like they're getting ornery. They're getting fed up, right? Bad things happen. They start doing stuff. They can turn. They can turn. You do something right, that played the old. I always joke around, the roof would blow off in the Metrodome. It was the best part about it.
Well, I would say this about the Blue Jays. The Blue Jays have had, believe it or not, have had problems scoring all season. So I'm just wondering, the Twins, they have Ryan, okay, and they have Pablo Fernandez. They have Pablo Lopez, the guy they got from the Marlins. Who else is on their staff that's
well, they have Sonny Gray still, right?
Sonny Gray, okay. So they got three guys that they can throw out there that are pretty good. Now Toronto has Gausman and what's his name? Who's that other pitcher that's really good on their team? I can't remember it. I can't remember off the top of my head now. Gausman and definitely not the guy.
Berrios. They have Berrios still.
Berrios stinks though.
Berrios. No, not this year. He does. I won't say he stinks, but got Kenta Maeda still out there.
Yeah, but is he? Yeah, but he's always hurt.
I think he's Japanese.
True.
They're either like bulletproof.
So it's going to be.
Well, Tanaka never got hurt.
I mean, that's what I said. They're either injury prone or they're bulletproof. There's no happy medium. There's
that's true.
You know what I mean? It's like.
Yeah, Matsui never got hurt either.
Correct.
But,
because he gets knee drained between at bats.
Who? Matsui?
Hideki. Yeah.
Really?
He's a freaking warrior.
Never seen him. Never missed any games.
Yeah, I said he was. That guy was tough as nails.
I think Chris Bassett was who you were looking for, Brad.
Thank you. Yes, the guy that won 18. The guy that won 16 games. Right.
Yeah.
Toronto has not announced a Game 2 starter yet.
Ooh.
So it's either going to be Bassett or it's going to be or
Ross Atkins playing games with him. I always get a kick out of that. The guys don't announce their starters.
Yeah, the Blue Jays have a 2-man staff, basically.
Yeah.
I don't know. I kind of like Minnesota in this series.
I do too, but I hope the Twins win. I just want to see. I really want to see Toronto go home. I don't like that team.
Oof.
I mean, Toronto, they've got.
When do they ever do anything in the playoffs? That team.
Which one? Someone's got to win this series.
Yeah.
Someone's got to win this one. Let's see.
Toronto will go with Pablo Lopez in Game 1 versus Gausman, and then Sonny Gray will pitch Game 2. So they're saving the kid for Game 3. Or Game 1 against Baltimore. Right? Winner of this plays Baltimore.
Yes.
No, that's not right.
The 3-6. No, if the
they get the Astros. Thanks. Or right?
So then
if the Blue Jays win, they play the Orioles. If the
doesn't reseed.
Oh, it's not reseed.
Does not reseed. No.
Oh,
that's another thing. I keep hearing the Phillies. They got such a bad draw. They got to play Atlanta. They're the two best teams in the National League. Like, okay, I look at it totally opposite. Like the Braves got the bad draw, having to play the Phillies in the second round rather than having it reseed and play either Milwaukee or Arizona. The Braves got the bad draw, not the Phillies.
Yeah.
I don't see how anybody can complain about the draw when you don't even win your division. Like, you don't win your division, you're fortunate enough to be one of the 3 wild card teams. You take whatever draw you can get. You can't complain about the draw when you didn't win enough games.
I get a kick out of the whole. We got a bad draw. Like, you think you're gonna sneak your way into the World Series without playing a good team? You're gonna have to play everybody. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
at some point you're gonna have to beat. You're gonna have to beat one of the really good teams.
You know what I mean? Like, that's I love it. Like, we got a bad draw.
Yeah, no, Every team is good in the playoffs.
Every team can hurt
to a
you.
point.
Like don't let the I always say don't let the emblem fool you. Dude. You still got to play the games.
And then we got Doug's favorite team, the Tampa Bay Rays, taking on the Texas Rangers.
I hope the Rangers sweep.
I hope the Rangers. I like their team down there. I just don't know.
They got the players they have.
Scherzer's out.
The players they
Jordan
have.
Montgomery's your game one starter.
They have.
I don't know.
They have guys who have experience
Yeah.
in the playoffs. That is not a team that's not a young team. That's a team that's been in the playoffs before. Players, not the team, but the players I've played on other teams. So, Semion's been there. Seager's been there. They're the two leaders of the team.
I just get a kick out of.
But
I get a kick out of the Rays' two best offensive players this year. One was a cast off from the Tigers, and the other one was a cast off from the Indians. Yandy Diaz couldn't hit the ball over the fence in AAA.
how about Paredes? Where did he come from?
He was Detroit Tigers.
He was?
Oh yeah.
Oh God! And they let him go.
I think it was the other one was Suarez is playing for Seattle. They let him go too.
You're kidding.
And those clowns still have a job in the game of baseball. Like, there's only so many times you can let those guys go. I mean, Paredes 31 homers, 250. Like, how many times does it have to happen before? Yeah, it's like. Anyway, but I just want to see Corey Seager. I want to see Corey Seager play a while in October.
Yeah, I like Marcus Semien too.
Yes.
Three
And I want to see the Rangers do well because they're led by an ex-player as a general manager, and I think that's the only way this thing changes back to where it looks like somewhat of baseball again, is that they start getting ex-players to become general managers.
Okay. I don't disagree with that at all.
So you can see some guys actually manage a game with their mind instead of a sheet of paper.
I don't know. I think the Rays are going to beat them though.
Well, the problem with the Rays their starting pitching is really damaged. I mean, they're gonna be going with like Glasnow and Eflin.
Their pitching is always damaged because they blow them out.
I mean,
yeah.
Glasnow's
I mean,
good.
if they have a plan in hand,
don't get me wrong, Glasnow is ridiculously good. Like that stuff he features it's arguably, and I don't like, it's probably stuff wise in the top 10 that's ever played at the major league level, stuff wise. It's that good. Like he's one of those guys when you give up a hit, you're like, man, like how'd you do that? That's how good his stuff is. But it's like he still gets hit. But my point is like stuff wise, just if you want my stuff. When I saw that kid in A-ball, I was like, this should be illegal. Like this isn't fair.
He was a very high prospect.
And our guys beat the everlasting you know what out of him too, like Buxton and Max Kepler and Jorge Polanco and like shit. A kid hit him grand slam off him his first pitch. It's like whoa, like I'm still watching from the side going. I still don't know how y'all did that because I still would take him over us any day of the week, even if he did tip every pitch.
But is there enough pitching in Texas? You get the Grom who's out, Scherzer who's out. You got Montgomery, I guess Andrew Haney.
What about Eovaldi? Is Eovaldi?
I mean, they announced.
Is Eovaldi going to pitch?
He's not pitching game one. Jordan Montgomery's starting game one, which I don't understand at all. I guess because they couldn't set up their pitching because they were in a.
Well, they were trying to win the
division. They were in a race.
Good series. I don't care, just because like Texas had to go like to win that division or get in the playoffs in that division. You got to be doing something.
Yeah.
You know, to battle those guys, even when they fell off, they could have easily just faded off, and they kind of righted the ship and got back into the playoff and made it. That says something about veteran manager.
Yeah,
righting the ship.
A lot of veteran players on that team too.
A lot of young kids would have folded. I think you make the move for Scherzer, and then he blows. Then he gets hurt. And it's like how many body blows and like haymakers can your players take I mean, you think of the emotional roller coaster you must be on as a player, right? You think you read the deadline, you're getting Max Scherzer. Holy moly! And all of a sudden he's hurt. You're like, man, are we cursed? We had DeGrom. No, we had Scherzer. Who's next? Corey Seager was on and off the DL. So you give those guys credit for righting the ship and getting in there.
Doug, would you rather have a team that completely mashes like the Phillies, or would you rather have a team with 3 or 4 solid pitching options like the Brewers or the Twins or one of these teams that's probably an underdog going into the wild card round?
In the playoffs, pitching.
In the playoffs, pitching.
Yeah. I just feel like you can mash all you want, but you're not going to mash number ones. You're going to have to find ways to grind out at bats that, and you just want someone who can keep up the zeros with the other guy. That's why I like the Phillies, though. Like they have power, but they have Schwarber hit under 200, but he gives you a good at bat every time he goes up there. He's dangerous every time he goes up there. He knows how to lock it in. Those guys grind out at bats. They hit good pitching. That's what good hitters do.
Don's on 19 wants to know what.
Go ahead, Brad. Let's go. What's next for the Yankees?
What's next for the
Looks
Yankees?
like they're keeping Boone.
Do you have a toilet I can flush?
I'm ready to. Just the fact that is Boone and Cashman really both gonna be back after this year? Because that would really disgust me if that's the case. But I guess if they are, I would suppose that they would probably give the catcher Austin Wells a shot to make the team next year. I would think that Dominguez will come back in July and play left field, but they still have to sign a center fielder. I'd like to see them sign a third baseman. Peraza or Volpe need to play shortstop, one or the other. They've got to make up their mind with that. And they've got to go out. They got to bring in a couple of left-handed hitters who can hit the ball. I mean, they had a lot of injuries, and that is fact. I mean, and they've got to get a new medical department because they allowed Anthony Rizzo to play for half a season with a concussion. How do you let that happen?
Maybe he's trying to send a message to the prima donna in right field who won't play with a boo-boo on his toe.
Oh, he did. He came back.
Yeah, but he missed time, and then he came back, and he sat the day after he came back.
Oh, that wasn't him though. That's Aaron Boone. Aaron Boone benching him.
Right, here we go again. You don't listen too good. That's not Boone.
That Boone and Cashman, whatever, the two of them.
Why? But if you want them both gone, you better have a better option in mind.
I think anybody could do a better job than him. And the guy I would like to get is Theo. How about Theo Epstein?
You think Theo's not going to take that job? Have you lost your mind?
Why? He took the Cubs job and he took the Red Sox job.
Yeah, because he doesn't want to just be somebody. He went to the hardest places he could possibly find to do it.
Okay, but I mean, wouldn't it be something for him to be part of the Yankee legacy? Why not?
Why would not everybody likes to be part of the Yankee legacy?
Yeah, some guys do that.
That's not everybody's end-all be-all goal.
That's a foreign language to Brad.
Right. I played for the Yankees, and I enjoyed every second of it. But that's not the end-all be-all for everybody. Trust me, if I'm Theo Epstein, I'm like, yeah. I broke a curse of 86 years and 90-something years. I think I'm pretty good. I don't need to go anywhere else to prove it.
Do you think he's going to go back to the Red Sox?
I don't think so. Why go back? You can only hurt yourself.
Okay. Well, he's one guy, but I mean, there's probably other guys. There's probably other guys I could think of.
Yeah, but if you want, but here's the thing too: is do you think you're far off? Do you think you're, do you think
the Yankees? I don't think they're that far off. Then you can't.
Then you cannot bring in a new GM and a new manager.
No, they need a new GM.
Doug,
Cashman's clueless.
why can't you do that?
Bring
Buck
in a new
Showalter
GM?
gets fired every year. Then the year after he gets fired, his teams win the World Series. Sometimes a new voice with the same talent can go a long way. No,
That's why I said general manager. I didn't say manager. I said general manager.
okay.
You bring a new general manager, you're gonna blow it
As
up.
far as
Right.
Boone is concerned, okay, I don't like Boone, but the real problem is Cashman. He's the one that assembled this team. Okay, he's the one that keeps guys way too long in the minors, and then they're never any good. You know, I mean, he's terrible. Cashman has made so many dumb trades, so many dumb signings. It's gotten to a point now where he's completely crippled the franchise.
You guys, New York fans don't get it though. Majority of them don't understand it. That's the problem. When you don't do anything and you don't get a big name free agent over the winter, you complain about not getting anybody. And then when you get somebody and he stinks, you can't just get rid of him. You still got to pay that salary. So you can't have it both ways. They need to stay pat for a couple of years and just take their lumps and reload.
Well, they're going to probably bring back. They're probably going to bring. Listen, as far as trading for Soto, Hamilton Harris wants to know why the Yankees got to trade for Soto. Interesting name, huh? Kind of like that. But in any event, Soto is going to cost you. If Soto's going to cost you Jason Dominguez, the answer is no.
I mean, if you can find someone dumb enough to dump some of those salary, yeah.
If you could find someone dumb enough to take Stanton, yeah.
You got to dump. You got to dump a bunch of guys. I'm telling you, man. That's where I'm curious to see where this goes. Right, I always say it with the Aaron Judge contract. It's hard to win when that much payroll goes to one guy. Look at the Angels. They're garbage. They're terrible. Like even a Shohei Ohtani hurting his elbow. Like, is he going to get $300 million? Probably, right?
You know what? That's a good one. I was going to ask you what your opinion was about that because I don't know.
What do you do with him? I mean, what are you going to tell? You're going to bank on him being a DH? He's not going to sign for $300 unless it's a short-term contract. You don't know what's going to happen after his elbow. I mean, the medical people they're miracle workers now. He'll be back to babies again in 2 years, which is fine. But what do you do in the time being? Do you sign a 1-year deal somewhere? Does he go back to Anaheim on a 1-year deal?
That's what I'm wondering. I mean, if I'm the Yankees, I don't touch him. I would love to see them get Soto, but what are they going to have to trade?
Because they were talking about him getting $600 million, right?
I get that. Yeah.
Well, now he's that's off the table now. You're not going to sign the guy for $600 million. You're not going to pay him $50 million to be a DH.
I don't know. If I've already had my elbow blown out, I'm looking for some security, multi-year security.
You bet on yourself. Yeah, someone's going to give it to him.
How long is he going to be, Doug? How long is he going to be out as far as from hitting? Isn't that like a 9-10 month injury to hit?
I would think, but it's not like
Bryce came back in May, and
right? But Bryce isn't a pitcher. Bryce isn't.
But
he can just rehab. He can rehab the hit. No.
Yeah, but I'm sure the rehab is a bit different.
Bryce wasn't good until August, though, Rob.
It wasn't Bryce is that's where you have to kind of weigh it, right? Do you weigh his longevity? What franchises and what organizations levy his longevity as a hitter, his longevity as a pitcher, right?
It's got to be as a hitter,
right? Because if he's a pitcher and you give him $40 million a year, you're going to wrap him in bubble wrap, right? To make sure he's pitching for us in the following year. Yeah, he's a great hitter, unbelievable talent, don't get me wrong. But, do you risk him hitting, risk the thought of having him do both to hit too soon? That's where it's going to get tricky. And I'm really intrigued what's going to happen this winter.
All I was saying about Bryce was, he's getting his surgery 2.5 months before Bryce did. Bryce didn't get his surgery till almost December, and he came back in May.
Yeah, but he's only my point is Bryce isn't trying to rehab to throw 97 off the mound anymore. He's just rehabbing to get back to play.
Understood.
You know what I'm saying? Right. There's a little bit different. Yeah. I mean, the fact that Bryce came back that soon is absolutely it's miraculous. I mean,
it's mind-boggling.
It's mind-blowing.
Yeah,
it is. But like again, I'm not taking anything away from his rehab. I'm saying like to come back to hit is hard enough. To come back to hit and pitch, coming off Tommy John, like I'm curious. Go ahead.
Do you think it's possible he just says, you know what, the pitching thing was cool, but I'm going to rehab as a hitter, and that's how I want to be signed.
And maybe I'm going to play the outfield.
No one's that's my point. You don't think like as much. I get it, dude. What can you buy with 300? What can you buy with 600? You can't buy with 300. Like,
yeah,
you know what I mean. But those guys, like, I'm not saying I don't know him, but I know the elite players. Those guys, like, they have a different chromosome than everybody else does. Like they don't look at it as money; they look at it as prestige. Meaning, like they get off on being the highest paid guy.
It's a respect thing.
It's a respect thing.
Got it. Got it.
But it's like okay, but like again, like as nice as he is, and I don't think, like I said, $300 million isn't exactly. He's not going to be like mowing lawns in the offseason to make up ends meet. But like it's like he's. If you have a chance, and even if he doesn't understand English, he knows what 600 million is. Like he can hear it on the TV.
Yeah, of course he
does.
So
like that's where I'm curious to see what comes from his camp. Like what's the approach they take in free agency as far as what they're asking for in years.
I wonder, is Scott Boras his agent?
I don't really know.
I don't know either.
I would think so. I think he gets everybody.
I
But I mean, like I said, if he was me, if I was his agent, I would try to get him a 2-year deal. I'll give him a 2-year deal.
Try again. Yep. Rehab and then try again in 2 years.
Kind of pay somebody to rehab us.
2 years. 2 years, $100 million.
2 year. Yeah, that's what I'd probably ask. 2 year. I'd ask for a 2 year, 120. Go from there.
You got to think it's not going to be in Los Angeles, though.
No. It just depends on you. Let them. You tell them. I would make publicly that we want a 6-year deal, 7-year deal. In the upwards of $500 to $600 million, right? And then you let the teams go off from there. And then if you go around, you make your rounds, you find out who's really interested, who isn't. So then they, each kind of you go around and you eliminate one more team, right? Then you start to see if the years don't match up. Do you like where it's at? Then you start to go back and say, well, our other option is taking the short-term deal and bet on yourself again. Because we all know when you're healthy, you're the best player in the league. So take a chance.
All right, let's transition to some football talk for the last couple minutes of the show here. Sports Jeopardy and Rivals coming up later tonight here on HUD Radio. Let's hear a message from our friends at Royal Billiard.
Royal Billiard and Recreation, proudly celebrating 40 years and our new, bigger showroom.
Twice the size and twice the fun.
More pool tables by Olhausen. More dartboard sets, including custom-reclaimed backboards. More bar and kitchen stools that can change a room.
And more bars, including pre-built and custom.
Hot tubs, skee ball, shuffleboard, outdoor,
and fun.
Royal Billiard and Recreation, your ultimate game room store. Now located on Bethlehem Pike in Colmar.
There they are, Royal Billiards. All your game room, office needs, dartboards, pool tables, hot tubs, everything. 515 Bethlehem Pike in Colmar, PA. Tell them A2D Radio sent you. There's the website right there. Fun store. Get your man cave, get your office up to date with Royal Billiards. Football, NFL, Eagles continue to be 4-0 despite not looking great once again yesterday, but they did win. They are 4-0. I believe that they are, the Dolphins lost yesterday. They're not undefeated anymore. So what is it? It's the Eagles and the Niners?
Yep.
That's it. Final 2 undefeated teams. I don't know. What do you gather from a team that's winning like the Eagles are? They're 4-0. They haven't played their best football yet.
They haven't played anybody either.
I told you before the season started, Washington's not bad. They're not bad.
They're not good either.
They're not.
They always give the Eagles trouble, especially at home.
They give everybody in that division trouble at least once a year. Like, when's the last time you went in there and beat the brakes off them twice? It doesn't happen. They always like. I think the Dolphins play them this year. And that game scares me to death.
Yeah, you will. You play the whole NFC.
Yeah, you play them. You play the Giants next, by the way.
Oh, thank God.
Yeah, well,
now we get a bye week.
Giants down 7-0 to the Seattle
thanks to a
Seahawks.
Daniel Jones fumble on the 10-yard line.
I mean, they didn't.
Okay, here's a better question.
They didn't block that guy off the edge at all, Brad. I mean, he had no chance.
I wish someone would comment on this before I say it. If you had to take your pick, you could have Zach Wilson or Daniel Jones. Who would you take?
Oh, I would take Daniel Jones. At least I know he can. I know that if he has time to throw, he'd be okay.
Zach Wilson looked. Yeah, Zach Johnson. I'm still mad about the Ryder Cup because that guy was a boob out there. As a captain. But Zach Wilson actually played competent football last night against the Chiefs.
Fairly competent, but the Chiefs, the Jets got robbed last night, but that's besides the point. I want to talk to Doug about the Dolphins yesterday. What the hell was that defense yesterday?
I knew it was coming.
I mean,
I knew it was coming. We have yet to, again, I live down here. Everybody's, woo, see Tua, we're great. I'm like, hang on, man, pump the brakes. We're 3-0 every year. And then we were 3-0 last year, and we fell off the plan. I'm like, hang on a second. 70 points, don't get me wrong. It was an entertaining Sunday. Outstanding.
That was a hell of an effort, but
knowing I've been a lifelong Dolphins fan, that the next week is what really mattered. You see the schedule, you see Buffalo in Buffalo. I would have rather we won that game 10-3 than 70. And then, like, it's the old adage, you go up there and you just get demolished. And until we beat them up there, I don't want to hear anybody say anything about us. I just stop with it. I knew when we got all the press and all the hype everywhere all week. We're on national talk shows. I'm like, that train's coming. I'm telling you, like Josh, he's just waiting until Sunday to absolutely just throw a haymaker at us, and he did.
That's one of the reasons I like Buffalo in that football game yesterday. Everyone was crowning the Dolphins.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So they scored 70 points. But
I was scrambling to try to take every bet I could on Buffalo.
The Bills defense, people forget how good that defense is.
Yeah, I mean, like, if you look at comparisons of even the first 3 weeks combined, I mean, they take away the Denver game because, like, that was like a really bad Madden game, like PlayStation game. But even like he had time to throw. Like you didn't see Tua pump fake for 3 weeks. I think he pumped once in 3 games. He pumped like at least 2 times a possession against Buffalo, meaning like he'd go to make a move and it wasn't there, or what he was seeing didn't happen, and like it just wasn't good. Like that's
like he was under siege too. I mean, the Bills.
He's always under siege. That's my point. He would be under siege but if you look at the first 3 weeks, his first read was wide open.
Yeah, that's true.
If his first read isn't wide open, we're in trouble because he can't like he doesn't have time. And again, I'm not a Tua hater. This is reality. We got taken to the woodshed by an actual Josh Allen has some moments where he throws the ball over the place. I grew up a Dan Marino fan. I like that. I know, like when he plays his A game, he can take his team to the on his back.
Yeah, no. When he plays his A game, Buffalo can beat anybody in the league.
I don't care who if he plays his A game, he can. I'm not saying he's better, but he can match up with anybody in the NFL. Mahomes, Hurts, whoever it is. If Josh Allen's on his A game, you better show up on the other side.
He's proven he can match up with Mahomes when he's on his A game.
Correct.
It's not his fault his team couldn't stop them in 13 seconds, for crying out loud.
Now, defensively, yeah, we got exposed. But again, like it's about injuries. You know, it's like we're down another defensive end. We're down, Jalen Ramsey. I'm not going to sit here and throw daggers at everybody's throwing daggers at the defensive coordinator. I'm like, hang on a second. Like when he has his full arsenal of what he thought he was going to get coming in to take this job, then I'll be concerned. But I'll never get too concerned over week 4.
No, but it's just the point that I think Buffalo
that meant something to them. They
had something. They wanted to show the whole world that what, you're all counting us out.
You didn't talk about us all winter because it was all about Aaron Rodgers, right?
Right.
You didn't say nothing about us. You couldn't wait to jump on the bandwagon when we lost to the Jets in week 1, and then you wrote us off.
And you couldn't wait to talk about Joe Burrow.
Correct.
All off season because they had the Bills had a horrible game in the snow against the Bengals, so that was their downfall last year, was having to play that stupid game in the snow, and Allen had a terrible game.
Benny DeLong, Giants are the worst team in the NFC East, and Zach Wilson is 10 times better than Daniel Jones.
He's not 10 times.
Yeah,
better.
yes, I knew I'd rile it up a little bit.
Yeah, he's not better than Daniel Jones. But the way Daniel Jones is playing tonight,
back in New York is Daniel Vogelbach, and he plays for the Mets.
Don 19, I'm having a good time watching the Lions stomp out the Packers. The Lions are good.
I told you.
Yeah, they are.
I told you.
They're really good.
I love that guy. I love Dan Campbell. I want to see him go deep in the playoffs.
But we're kind of in this Philadelphia, San Francisco bubble in the NFC because it's weak and down, and I get that. But the Lions have everything you need to make a run at a championship. They're getting great quarterback play from Goff. I think he's 14-3 in his last 17 regular season games, something crazy like that.
Are you more?
Campbell's a good coach.
What's your biggest surprise? Bigger surprise, do you think? Detroit being 3-1 or the Bucks being 3-1?
The Bucks being 3-1, but honestly, my biggest surprise in the NFL is negative in the sense that the Bengals aren't good at all.
Yeah, that's kind of shocking. Like watching them play, was it last Sunday night or Monday night? When did they play last week?
They played Monday night.
Monday night against the Rams.
That was tough, man. That was tough to watch.
And then they got smoked this week. I mean, Tennessee's a good team. I don't want to take it.
Tennessee can get you at home. Tennessee is very good at home.
But I mean, what was it, 27-3? Or am I thinking of another game?
28-3. No, it's 28-3.
They can't move the ball down the field. It's all dink and dunk. That's. I mean, what happened?
And they started like this last year, and they were able to recover with the extra playoff team. And they started winning some games, but I mean,
but they're 0-2.
There's a lot of good teams in the AFC.
I don't think Joe's doing more damage to himself now by trying to play through this calf thing than he is by.
He's got to sit. I mean,
to me at this point, like, look, you hobbling around at 1-3. No. We can go 1-5 with you getting healthy, and then maybe we get on a run and see what happens. I mean, he didn't have a preseason, and then he comes into the season, re-injures it again. I don't know. But you're right. With those receivers, to have 49 points they've only scored 49 points in 4 games.
And then to answer your toss-up, Doug, I did not see – I thought the Saints were good. I know they have an issue at quarterback now because Derek Carr is not healthy. But, I mean, Baker Mayfield, he touched up that defense, which I thought was pretty good.
I thought was supposed to be good, right. That's what I thought. I thought they were supposed to be good.
And Mike Evans, he got hurt in the game. I'm not sure how much he played and if he went back in or not. But he's hurt now. And 26-9, I mean – total beatdown. I mean, the Bucks, they lost to the Eagles. No shame in that. The Eagles just got their claws on them and didn't let them up.
The Eagles are a better team than
they're just better.
I mean, that's really their only That's really the Eagles' only signature performance the entire season. I mean, New England wasn't great. Then they played Minnesota. They got the win. Barely, and then yesterday, they're down most of the game. They're able to tie it up and go into overtime, and they got the win.
That's what good teams do, though. Like I feel like teams like Philly, like they don't need the pub, they don't need the press, they don't need to shock people. Like San Fran's, Christian McCaffrey 4 touchdowns, MVP. Like the Eagles are like, we've already been we went to the Super Bowl last year. We should have won. Like we'll win games. Don't worry about us. Just keep going.
Don 19 hitting on a big surprise. CJ Stroud's really good.
Damn, he's really making people like forget about the other one that's in Chicago, the other Ohio State boy.
Yeah,
he's having problems.
He played well. Yeah, he had some stats yesterday, but they still lost.
Yeah, they lost to the Broncos, didn't they?
Yeah.
They blew a 21-point lead in the fourth quarter, I think.
But that go back to CJ Stroud. That goes to show you what a coach can do too.
Who's their OC there? Because Ryans is the defensive guy. He's obviously Bobby Slowick.
That's probably why I never heard of him.
Don't know who he is, but he's doing good with CJ Stroud. It looks to be. I don't know. I don't know what to make of Jacksonville. They're able to get the win in London over Atlanta.
London is like their only. They should just stay over there. That's their. They've always played.
Well, they play Buffalo in London this week.
Next week, yeah. So they just stayed over there.
That's a big advantage.
I hate that. The Europe games.
I'm not a fan of it. I'm not a fan of it either.
In a few weeks, you got the Dolphins. Your Dolphins and the Chiefs are playing in Germany.
Right.
That's like ridiculous. The premier game. That's like the premier game of the whole NFL regular season potentially. It's
right.
In Germany.
You're
at 9:30 in the morning.
Field. Right. 9:30 in the morning on a cricket field. We're gonna be playing on a makeshift football field at 9:30 in the morning.
Hopefully nobody gets hurt.
Correct.
Don 19. The NFL let Jamison Wilson free earlier. Great week for the Lions. Yeah, he got his gambling suspension reduced by 2 games.
That helps.
From 6 games to 4. So he can play next week. And now they're just going to get more explosive. Yes, David Roska, Phil Nevin is out. Phil Nevin is out in Anaheim, Los Angeles.
I did follow Phil Nevin as the Toledo Mudhen manager. So maybe there's a correlation.
Maybe there's a correlation there.
I hope so. But I was told we're very similar in the regard of personality. So
you're a fiery guy. I think you'd be a really good manager.
Yeah, but I don't think the fiery. That's the thing that always you can. There's a calming side to me when I get in the dugout, but I don't. People always think, "Oh, he's fiery." Yeah, that's great and all that, but that also you got to know when to do it too. Like Larry Bowen, flies off the handle, right? That's cool. I liked it. Not everybody liked that, but you have to be able to kind of ebb and flow it, right? And know when to. It's like when your parents yell at you, right? Your parents yell, you kind of lose. If you keep hearing yelling, it kind of loses its sting. You got to be able to keep that little intensity part of it when it's really needed. You know what I mean? Don't cry wolf too many times. But I appreciate that. I hope my phone is on. Let's put it that way.
Hopefully they do the smart thing, Doug.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
Call you.
That would be nice. That would be nice.
Brad, your Giants down 7-0 here. What was your level of confidence heading into this game?
I had very little confidence in them winning tonight. To be honest with you, I just without Barkley and Thomas, their offense is really, really pathetic.
They say how long he's going to be out.
Barkley might be back next week.
Of course. Yeah, he's probably up doing jumping jacks right now, watching the Bills Dolphin tape. I'm healthy.
Is that who is that?
Yeah,
Giants
and Von Miller is going to be coming back just in time to play the Giants. Isn't that wonderful when the Giants play Buffalo?
So wait, Giants have
Miami and Buffalo the next 2 weeks, okay, and they got to play Seattle tonight. So
you got lucky that Teron Armstead's out for 2 weeks too. That guy could ever stay healthy, he's our left tackle. If he could ever stay healthy,
Doug, it's really going to matter.
For us, it matters huge. This poor guy.
The Giants aren't winning in Miami, and they sure as hell are not winning in Buffalo. I mean, what would make anybody think that they're going to win those 2 games? This is the game they've got to win tonight. They somehow have to figure out a way to beat Seattle, or the season's going to be over, because they're going to be 1-5 if they lose this game. Because I have absolutely no faith in them going to Miami and Buffalo and winning those 2 games. I mean, you talk about impossible. Forget it. Their defense will get destroyed by those 2 teams.
College football, before we get out of here.
Bye week.
Doug, I think your Florida State Seminoles are the best team that I've seen play thus far.
They're better than USC.
I will say this. As a Seminole fan, I think Texas is pretty damn good.
They would be number 2 for me.
I think Texas is pretty damn good. Like I think we have the best win of the year. I think Texas should be number 1 in the country.
Well, we're kind of like waiting to see if Alabama
they're figuring it out.
Takes off with the West. They're figuring it out. They beat Mississippi State by a lot on Saturday. But like a lot of Texas's resume is that
on Bama.
Bama has the one loss, and it's them.
Right.
And if they're dropping to LSU or Georgia or Tennessee or one of these other games, then they already played Ole Miss and beat them, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, my biggest issue with
that's going to hurt Texas a lot because the Big 12 isn't that
right.
great.
But everybody sleepwalks. Like Georgia sleepwalked. They were down 14-3 against South Carolina. You know, they kind of sleepwalked through this one too. And it's like Florida State dropped twice because of a 2-point win at Boston College, and they dropped because of an overtime win at Clemson. It's like, well, like you take away 4 BS turnovers, and you're telling me that if everything stayed according to Hoyle, because if you've watched the Duke-Clemson game, Clemson outplayed Duke. They just fumbled the ball inside the 5-yard line 3 times. So my point of this, and I know it's excuses, but if Clemson hangs on to the football, they beat Duke, and now Florida State Clemson is number 3 versus number 5. It's a whole different perspective, right? Like I know Clemson has 2 losses. You can't tell me that they shouldn't be in the top 25. It's just they're better than one, but the SEC gets biased. And don't get me started on all that crap. But like, I just feel like you shouldn't be penalized for winning. You can't have it both ways.
No, but then they dog Florida State for beating Clemson, but Clemson gets 1 loss to a Duke team that's actually good. They almost beat Notre Dame on Saturday.
They should have beat Notre Dame.
Probably should have, but then Notre Dame should have beat Ohio State, and that didn't happen. So we can play these games all day long.
There's no clear-cut number 1 right now. I mean, I'm sorry.
I love
no
it.
Dominant team.
I wish there was 8 teams this year.
That would be fun. I said the same thing yesterday.
I look at Florida State's receivers for Travis. I mean, those 2 guys are monsters.
They're
to get big and strong and fast, and they have all the weapons you need. And that defense,
you guys have. Their quarterback has one hell of an arm.
We like if Jordan Travis was completely healthy and we didn't have to play the referees too in that game, I think we'd have scored 45 or 50 points. They were playing one-on-one, and usually when Jordan Travis, they play one-on-one and they go down the field on our 2 best receivers. If he gets around the edge, Jordan just keeps running. The DB's backs to him. He keeps running. That's 15 yards. His shoulder is messed up because he took a bad hit in Boston College. I think he's more hurt than he's letting on. We have to have him at full strength to beat Miami and Florida at the end of the year to get us where we want to go.
Doug, he kind of reminds me of Josh Allen.
Josh Allen's a little bit bigger.
But it's the same kind of he's the same kind of quarterback.
I love the fact that he's got
an unbelievable that guy. He's got probably the best arm in college football.
He's been booed off the field, and he still keeps coming. I love it. I think that's great.
Also, your defense, Doug. I mean, I wouldn't say it's the greatest defense in the whole world, Florida State, and there's other defenses that are better, but they are physical, they are athletic, and they are opportunistic. They took that who was that? Wilson, number 6.
Mm-hmm.
He took. I mean, Florida State was dead in the water in the second half against Clemson.
Dent, Dent's our safety that's hurt. That changes our whole entire defense. Well, ever since he's gotten hurt, I didn't realize how much he meant to us until he wasn't out there. He pulled his hammy against Southern Miss, and it's been a debacle ever since in the secondary. But we got there at the right time on that scoop and score against Clemson. The roads, We're very close to what we used to look like. Deep defensive line, active linebackers, shut down corners, attack the ball, stay in lanes, can run down people. It's like I expect more out of our defense than what we've seen, but I really think that we are super thin at safety. And once we get Hakeem Dent back, I think it's going to look completely different.
Florida State hosting Virginia Tech on Saturday afternoon, 3:30 on ABC.
You should slaughter them.
Slaughter them. Yeah. We should slaughter them.
And my boys slaughtered them, so I can't imagine what you guys are going to do to them.
Two biggest games on the slate this week looks to be the Red River rivalry, Oklahoma and Texas.
Correct.
So this will be another test for Texas. I don't know much about Oklahoma. I got to be honest with you. I know they were rolling up some crazy stats against some less than stellar competition earlier.
Don't sleep on Brent Venables. Like Brent Venables is the old defensive coordinator for Clemson.
They're going to be a defensive team, that's for sure.
He knows what he's doing, and like
they can score too.
He can shut down some really good offenses with some very like average talent defenses. So like that's going to be a good game.
And then you have Kentucky traveling to Athens to take on the Bulldogs.
Don't sleep on
I think this is going to be
Kentucky's pretty good.
Kentucky can punch them in the mouth. Like Kentucky can run the ball.
They're pretty good.
They got – it's not Bob Stoops. Who is it? Mark Stoops?
Yes, he was the defensive coordinator at Florida State when Jimbo first took over.
We're going to find out real quick if they're sleepwalking or they're going to be ready to play Georgia, because if they sleepwalk versus Kentucky, I don't think Kentucky will let them up.
We'll find out how good Bama is this weekend too.
They are playing Texas A&M, I think, right?
Correct. Jimbo Fisher has a hard-on for Nick Saban.
I think Saban has a hard-on. I think
it's not going to be an easy game for them.
I think that hard-on goes both ways.
They'll find out a lot about each other there. I think we'll find out a little more how good Miami is by watching this Alabama-Texas A&M game. I'm not sold on A&M yet.
Because Miami beat A&M, you're saying?
Correct.
So you want to see how good?
I want to see A&M's for real.
I don't think the SEC is like by far the best conference this year.
No.
Not based on what I've seen.
But if you look at the polls, LSU has 2 losses. They're still ranked in the top 25. Like, how is that possible? I mean, think about it. Clemson.
I don't know.
Clemson's lost to Duke, who was a 1-point loser at home to Notre Dame, who was a top 5 team or top 10 team 2 weeks ago, right?
Right.
And then loses to the number 3 team in the country at home in overtime. They're nowhere to be found in the polls. LSU loses to Ole Miss, who got, like, basically, in my opinion, got trounced by Alabama, a really poor offensive Alabama team, and lost to Florida State. And LSU on a neutral site, and LSU still in the top 25. Like, it's just like Tennessee loses to Florida and is still ranked ahead of Florida. Like, it's
yeah.
I get it. Like, their history, I understand it. The SEC's always been great. They have a national champions, but like, I still fight it to this day. Depth of conference matters. You can't be Vanderbilt screaming SEC. No, you stink. Like, Georgia's great. Alabama was great. Like, end of conversation right there. Like, if on a normal year, if that'd have been Clemson and Florida State, if Florida State would have held on, right? It would have been the same thing. That's like saying Wake Forest was screaming for us, like ACC. Like, no, hang on, settle down. No, you're not. Like, back up. It's the Clemson and Florida State show.
If you want to talk about depth of conference, the Pac-12 has to be
for sure
in the conversation. I mean, you have Washington State's number 13. Washington's way up there.
Washington has not been stopped yet. Like, Washington's really good.
Oregon's really good. Utah, they lost to Oregon State on Friday night, but they don't even have their quarterback yet. That kid they have, Johnson, that
he can't move the ball.
Gadget dual threat guy, he can't move the ball at this level. He's fast and athletic, but he can't throw the football. I mean, USC's number 9. They escaped Coach Prime on Saturday. They can't stop anybody though, so we'll see how they adjust to that.
A lot of good games this weekend. We'll see if Louisville's for real. Louisville's not bad.
You talking up Louisville. They're going to host.
They're hosting
Notre Dame.
They can put points up. They're athletic.
Guys, does my team have any shot at Wisconsin in Wisconsin this week?
Yes.
Yeah, Wisconsin. I mean, I like their new coach with Fickle. They're finally getting away from that boring
2
Big
yards in the
Ten
cloud.
football.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, our
so
defense
Fickle should
is
help with that.
pretty good. I mean, our defense basically gave up 24 points to Michigan in Ann Arbor. I mean, I think their defense is finally there. I just don't know if we can score enough.
I think you guys are on the up and up. I like Rutgers. Their game, you can watch their game. If they're at noon and your game's at 3:30, like I'll turn into them because I think like they're just don't have enough horses to compete for 4 quarters yet.
No, not, and they don't have their quarterback isn't good enough either. But they're I told you those two corners are good.
They're good. Yes, they are.
They're really good. They have a pretty good pass rush. They just, you know what, they were very competitive with Michigan for 3 quarters.
Yeah, that game was fun to watch.
Yeah, they had. Listen, they were down 17-10. No, it was 17-7, and Rutgers had the ball 4th down and 1, and they tried a screen pass, and it ended up being a pick 6. And that's what cost that. And then they were off and running. And then it was 24-7. So at that point the game was over. But they still only lost 31-7. It's not like they gave up another 30 points. Like the old Rutgers would have ended up giving up 50 points after that.
That's correct.
So I think there's definitely a big improvement. It just they have to beat a good Big Ten team if anybody's going to really believe it. That's the thing. And I don't know. Hopefully they can do it against Wisconsin this week.
That'd be fun to watch. That'd be cool.
Final thoughts before we get out of here for Sports Jeopardy, Fandemonium.
Go Phillies.
Go Phillies. World Series prediction, real quick. End the show. I think the Phillies and the Orioles would be a lot of fun.
That would be fun. I mean, I'm hoping you see the Orioles in there, but I have a feeling it's going to be Braves in Houston.
I would like the Rangers and the Dodgers.
The Rangers and the Dodgers. All right, there you go. Tomorrow, 8:00, Phillies, Marlins, wild card. Hopefully they can sneak by. Brad Ryer, Doug Mankiewicz, I'm Rob Brinkman. Peace out, everybody.
Boy.